And we're on, oh god.
So, what's been going on, Brad?
Fucking absolutely nothing.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, well,
That new that
that,
new hot game, The Order, came out
oh yeah, I was really excited for that.
to critical acclaim.
It totally came out differently than I expected. A lot of people, they told me, hey, Comfort Jones, you gotta wait. You gotta wait. You don't know.
Yeah, you
It might
haven't
not be
played
a
it yet,
totally linear, handholdy, fucking nothing-filled romp through nothing.
but you haven't played it yet, and therefore, there's no way you could possibly know what it's gonna be like.
I watched 4 hours and it was like 4 hours of cutscenes and the same shit.
Where you like pick up a gun they hand to you and you shoot werewolves, and then you hide behind a
No, you
wall.
don't even get to shoot a werewolf. They
What?
fucking
What?
yeah. Remember, it's the scene we thought it would be after E3, where you shoot at a werewolf like in like what, a 2 second window.
Mm-hmm.
The werewolf like attacks him, and then there's a quick time event, and then there's another quick time event where you use the alternate fire on the rifle to make it go away, and then later you have a quick time event fight with it.
But I thought that was so. It's worse than what I expected it to be.
Yes, it's a quick time event fight.
Oh,
Your first encounter with the werewolf, and they can't even.
let you fight it? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
And some people were like, "That's quick time events done right." I'm like, "Yes, we're
What?
not actually doing anything intelligent or doing anything that has to do with the main mechanics of the game." Mm.
Well, that's huh.
So this game has been not doing too good in the press. And there was even a pretty good, I think it was like a blog poster on Forbes, if I was understanding them right, but I can't remember. But basically, he's saying it's like it feels like reviewers are getting like more, I don't know, like either bored or like I don't know, like AAA is falling out of favor with people is the main thing. And I don't know if this game really would have been too well received that like last year or the year before it, but I feel like this game is like the logical conclusion of like AAA to its extreme.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, yeah, if you want to minimize the gameplay as much as
Yeah,
possible.
it's super inorganic. The game, like they don't really care about the gameplay. It's story first, even though the writing isn't all that good. Super huge fucking budget with like nothing in that budget going towards anything like different. Like nothing gameplay wise is different, and it's this is to me this has been shown with like the older Uncharted games, or like I've seen like more than at least two threads where people were like, or posts at least where people are just kind of openly saying, Uncharted One isn't really all that good. It's kind of basic, and I'm
You're
like,
talking about NeoGAF, right?
I have NeoGAF for other sites. Like it's pretty common. Like when that game came out, it had like pretty big acclaim. Like it was supposed to be
Yeah.
like, oh, this is next gen, and I'm like, well, now next gen's over and it's aged like fucking milk.
Hmm. Because that was supposed to be Sony's flagship franchise,
Yeah.
and now it's kind of like, eh, eh.
Because it
And
turns
I'm not,
out, oh,
I'm not even a big fan of Halo, but it is not perceived that way. There's still a
no,
lot of people who have hopes that Halo will be as good as it used to be, even though it hasn't been as good as it once was.
that's because the older ones didn't have like a million cutscenes,
Yeah, it could be.
and the budget actually went towards like things like happening that like weren't totally like
Like
common back then.
stable online play.
Well, that was Halo 2, but
Yeah.
Halo 1, like just like a lot of, well, I mean, like back then, like AAA meant like a budget that like went towards doing shit other people couldn't do, like just fucking good 3D, like a stable frame rate and a big 3D environment. You fucking drive around. There's quite a few enemies on screen. The AI is pretty decent. Like that was AAA. AAA isn't really about that anymore. AAA is about like
You know what game really sums up AAA to me?
what?
Final Fantasy 13.
Oh God.
Because they took a series that was once really known for being like, having a lot of exploration, a lot of freedom, and took all of that out. And we're like, no,
Ugh.
you go down this pathway and you do exactly what we fucking tell you to do.
Yep.
That's another good example.
Yep. And I don't know. Like to me, this is actually a good thing for the industry, though, because I feel like there's just been too much lauding for technical achievements, which,
Yeah.
like, in my opinion, puts like gaming kind of behind as an art form because we don't really do that with movies as much. Like, it's very rare for a movie to slide by just because it looked good. There'll be even like reviewers who say, "Oh, this movie looked really good, but like the script was still ass." Like
Yeah.
people will say that, but like a game, all it needs is to look good, and people will say, "Oh, it has potential." Like there's so many fucking posts I see that says the order has potential, and I'm like, what potential? The designers did nothing with it. The gameplay is nothing. The script is fucking nothing. Everything is nothing. The only potential you see is the fact that they spent like however many years making a really good graphics engine. That's not fucking potential.
I think it's because we have a lot of gamers who are actually more like tech enthusiasts, but they like to play games.
Yeah.
So like they see crazy graphics, like, oh, I like this, and it's like, well, okay, you might like it, but you're not liking it because it's a game.
Yeah.
You're liking it for its technical achievements, which is a totally different thing. I don't really give a shit. Like, I want to play a game, and I want it to be a good game.
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. They act like it's just like a genre preference, and I'm like, I don't think that's it because I like shooters, and like they're acting like this is a genre now. Games that don't want to be games, because that game does not want to be a game. It literally takes the most basic combat they could think of, with literally like no input from the designers I could see in any way, shape, or form. There's no smart extra mechanic that they came up with themselves or put a spin on.
Hey, what about isn't there a survival comeback mechanic thing, right?
What do you make when you die and you get to crawl around? Yeah, that's a thing in like, Gears.
Reckoning mode from what was that RPG called? Shit, it was so forgettable.
Are you talking about the slow-mo thing?
It put that company out of business that Kurt Schilling was with.
Oh yeah, it is right.
Yeah, it had like the exact same type of thing. And it's only there to make the game even easier than it already is.
Yeah, I remember I kept asking people, I'm like, how is this not like the most basic kind of game ever, where it has regen health and it's a huge emphasis on cover, and people would actually give answers like given by devs on like story stuff. Oh, well, it's like Blackwater, you might not want to use it too much, and I just keep looking at clips. I'm like, that's regen health, and they're like, well, there's regen health, and then when you get downed, if you get hit, you die. And I'm like, oh, so there's a failsafe on top of a failsafe.
Yes, just in case you want the game to have even more safety nets for people not knowing what they're doing.
Like, this isn't a genre, is what I'm saying. This is like, you don't want to play games, and you're trying to tell people that your, like, thing is just as worthy of other things. And I'm like, it's kind of not when it costs, like, 40, 50 million fucking dollars to make. I don't actually know what the fucking ridiculous budget is on these things.
I heard they had a Super Bowl ad for it, so that alone... Like, I'm assuming Sony probably paid for that, but
fuck loads of money is the point. Like, for a game that doesn't want to be a game, that is, to me, a very bad sign for, like, the state of, like, games as a medium. And you're talking about these things as, like, artistic things. It's like, it doesn't want to make use of the medium it's in. If that game, which little basic gameplay it had, was stripped out and turned into a movie, they'd shit on it too because they wouldn't care about, oh, it looks good, and they'd basically just focus on the script and the characters, both of which are incredibly fucking vague and or forgettable or bland.
And the same type of story that's been done a million times,
of course,
just with a different skin on it.
Oh, but the werewolves and laser guns.
Like, that's another thing, is like the only like big AAA game I can think of that was willing to, at least have fun with its ridiculousness was Gears of War. Every other one tries to be super serious and gritty, and it's like, you're a game where you're shooting werewolves with laser guns. Why are you trying to take this seriously? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
well, the thing is 2 and 3 actually took it even less seriously, and people said they wanted it to go back to being more serious. I know,
because I was just gonna say there's probably some spreadsheet somewhere that says people want epic and serious.
Oh my! It was like a horror game. But what does this take me to? Oh yes, the shift in gaming. I think more and more of these titles are failing, or at least getting really bad press along with like just mishandling of budget, which is a fucking huge thing in AAA because these fucking groups are used to just being given a dickload of money and being told, yeah, people will buy it. And that's what happened with the Assassin's Creed Unity and Master Chief Collection, and that's going great. But we also got games that have flopped, like Titanfall. Destiny's kind of just like this awkward bastard child in the industry now. So is there no one I'm forgetting? I think like the latest Battlefield game like didn't work for like forever. Like this is getting more and more common, and it's to the point where now there's a game, Bloodborne, which is basically a Souls game. And the Souls games were always kind of like a niche thing. Like they didn't get that much media coverage. This thing's like getting all the fucking hype. Like for one trailer, and it's huge. Like all the press is talking about it. People are saying, "Oh, I never played Souls when we had Bloodborne." I'm like, yeah, this is what's happening. Is
Yep.
there's like so many like cases now of like big stuff not doing so well, where Sony's willing to push like what you define as like a mid-tier company,
Yeah.
which is like they're kind of big, but not like AAA big. Like they're big enough to make like a big 3D game, and I
I
think that's a better step.
Yeah, like Sony's even they're what's the word I'm like they're publishing and co-developing Street Fighter 5.
Oh yeah, something like that. Like
That's
they're
not something that would have happened before, I don't think.
no. The point is they're pushing gameplay focused games,
Hmm.
not fucking story focused games.
But then again, they did also push the orders. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta have both.
yeah.
And here's the thing: when I say I don't like story focus, it's not even a case of like story in a game. It's how is the story being delivered? Because if the story is nothing but cutscenes and scenes where your character slows down because there's a dramatic speech going on, you're not making use of like a medium. When I play a game, I want to play a game. If I wanted to watch something, there's a medium for that already.
Yep.
Like I feel like people would go like they wouldn't allow for a game to just have a sequence where there's no gameplay or visuals. Like what if there was a scene in a game where it just goes to black screen for like 15 minutes and plays music? I guarantee people would like shit all over that, but somehow it's not ridiculous when they do that with a cutscene, and then the cutscene stops for like literally a minute so you can like run down a hall, and then a quick time event plays.
It's
It's insulting to my intelligence.
if this trend does continue to decline, I think it would be very good news for anyone who's, looking forward to virtual reality games, because that cutscene model obviously would not work in a virtual reality type experience. Like your camera just shifts perspective, and it's like that would be even more terrible. Like I'm not really one of those people looking forward to that. Like I'll try it, but I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
kind of funny. They actually bring that up because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be like the future of gaming." I'm like, "Do you want to watch a cutscene while you're in first-person view,
Yeah, like
or do you actually want to do shit?"
yeah, do you actually want to immerse yourself in the experience, which I thought was the whole point of virtual reality.
Because
So yeah,
that kind of gets to my point I was about to say about QuickTime events, which is I think QuickTime events are kind of insulting, and the fact that they're like such a staple with AAA is just kind of shows just how shallow they are. Where it's basically trying to pretend a thing is happening that isn't happening. I mean, obviously a game is fake, but like to the point where you don't even care about its consequence within the game itself. Like I don't fucking care when I get knocked out a window or whatever, and Sir Galahad's like, oh, I gotta drink this black water, and then oh, I gotta like shoot this guy. It's like, oh, so instead of like actually putting me in a situation where based on my reaction time I might be able to stop a thing from happening, or I might have to heal myself in a bad situation. No. We're just gonna make that like a scripted scene, which makes it one basically impossible to fail. And if you do fail, it'll take you out of it more because then you just have to redo it within like a second or two. Which is the thing they did at the end of Halo 4, and it drove me batshit insane. There's a bit spoilers in case you haven't played fucking Halo 4.
I haven't.
And at the Halo 4, you're about to beat the bad guy by like throwing a grenade in his face or something. Like you like run up and put a grenade or whatever.
Yep.
And there's like there's a chance to fail it. I can't even remember how you fail it. Like you press the button at the wrong time, and he just like bodies you, and then it literally spawns you like 2 seconds back. And then
So
you
what
redo
is
it.
the point? Just have a fucking cutscene.
It's pointless. It's insulting, and it's like you spent money on that animation. Like you.
Yeah. In Dying Light, a new game did the same fucking thing. Final boss entirely is just a QTE sequence where you have to do like 10, QTEs in a row. That's the final boss. So it's like, why?
It's because these developers are getting cynical, and my problem with this is I feel like cynical games breed like a really
that's
weird generation.
I don't even think it's just that, because Dying Light I don't think is a cynical game. It's a more of an indie, almost indie type game, and they had an idea that they obviously wanted to do. It has its own type of mechanics going on. It was a game. They had a passion for it, and yet I almost feel like it's people that I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. They've never had to make their own idea of what a game is. Like
They're not actually designers.
yeah, they're taking ideas that they've seen done and just trying to mold them into what they want to do.
It's like a producer who just knows how to manage a team, and he just kind of like looks at ideas. He's like, "Hey, what's big?"
Yeah. The thing is, those type of games can still be fun, but they're always going to have things where you're scratching your head like, what the, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just were honest with themselves and like, I don't have a good idea for how this final boss is going to work. So fuck it, QT segment.
Well, I guess the way I would put it, especially with like big developers, is it's like, do people who like these games, do they actually think the lead people in charge have like an eye for game design when it's literally like the lead guys for the order who are explicitly supposed to be doing gameplay things? What did they do? Like, what did they say to do? Because all there is regen health. So the instant you do regen health, there's already a lot you can't do. So it's just like, yeah, make sure he can take cover and make the enemies, do what they do in every single regen health game. Like, what? Did they go, oh, I want a gun that shoots, like, lightning. Okay, like, what does that actually change? What does that do for the game? Oh, it looks cool. Oh, okay.
So basically you're saying is you want to find the design outline, be like, all right, I want to read through this.
Yeah, like, I want to see, like,
yeah.
because, like, the idea is for a game, it's like, yes, everyone can argue, oh, like, nothing's truly original. It's like, yeah, but when you're writing up an idea, you still, like, have, like, an idea for, like, the gameplay. Like, you should be able to say, like, oh, this is my idea for, like, a mechanic. Like, oh, this enemy is going to do this. Your enemies are a man who shoots and goes behind cover. Your gameplay is go behind cover and reach at health. Which is not design. This is literally, like, a thing you can just tell a person to do, and then they hand you the game, like, a year later, like, yeah, I did the thing.
It's a formula that's been done repeatedly, and that's why I feel these aren't, these are games that aren't like the Rad made the order, right?
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm trying to get at is that they didn't make the gameplay. They are just being told, all right, this is the formula for the game that we've been making for over the years. Like, it's been done before, it's been successful, just make it like this.
Yep.
And then put on your own bells and whistles, whatever cosmetic stuff, and your story, and there you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cynical. That's like, what people were bitching at record studios for doing in the 80s, and that you're just going to shit out the same crap over and over again.
This is what I try to explain to people when people were trying to defend it before it even came out, and these are the same people that have pushed the goalpost one way or another when they were trying to tell people, oh, you gotta give it a chance, yeah, this blah blah blah, this. When it's like, oh, you guys are being like fickle, like you guys like Uncharted, and it's like Uncharted at least lets you move through the level. Like this game literally has like sections that are just a hallway, like literally, like there's enemies behind cover and you can't move around them. It's a hallway, like literally.
Well, they better not say that to me because I've always said Uncharted sucks ass.
Yeah, well.
Sorry to anyone who likes
Uncharted.
I
think they're saying like reviewers are being fickle. I'm like, no, like this has reached to a point where even people feel like they're like, oh, this is literally the most cynically made. Like this is not, like this is what people are being paid like a fuckload of money for. And my favorite thing is how people defend them being like, oh, like these guys put 5 years of effort into this, and you're just like being all mean to them. And it's like, yeah, and they were given that much of a budget, and this is what they made. The most cynically designed game I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, there are indie teams who would do anything to have the chance of making a game with almost no restrictions, and they probably get seething at the mouth at how little other companies do with that much potential.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, oh, you made a game where you shoot stuff. All right, good job. Never seen that before.
Yeah, like good goal. Like, okay, if you're gonna be, in my opinion, if you're gonna be making a shooter with like that kind of a budget, the budget should be going into the game. Like the AI should be like some next level stuff, like something with like the physics. Like you can break stuff in some crazy way. Like enemies respond, like just from getting shot in like ways you've never seen in a game before. All this, kinds of stuff. Like it's just very hard to do. Yep. In games before, like just stuff it's like actually like this is next gen, not like oh this looks next gen, like something that's actually like oh this game hasn't been made because technology like kind of restricts it.
Like here's just a simple idea that just pops in my head. All right, so that electric gun that just looks cool.
Yeah.
What if that had its own physics system where if you shoot water, all the water will electrify and anyone in water dies, or you could shoot electrical equipment the enemy's using and then it frits it out so you don't have to deal with that anymore. There you go. It's free. Done that. It would have been cool. Hey, it would have been something, you know? Just boom, do that.
Why don't we stop and by the way, just on like a side note, can we just stop fucking doing regen health? Like I don't understand. I get confused when people really need a detailed explanation as to why it's bad. It's like it feels like self-explanatory if you play a regen health for like a minute. And I think one example I came up with is like, okay, imagine you're playing a game like Dark Souls or whatever, any game where you're just not supposed to be getting hit too much. Imagine if after you get hit, you could just like not get hit for 10 seconds, and without pressing a button, you just get your health back. Like no animation plays, you get your health back. Even reviewers would be like, this is terrible and stupid, and it makes all the enemies completely inefficient because they can't keep on you enough. Yeah, that's regen health shooters. Basically, enemies, one, not only are they not very efficient, so developers have to make them do all ridiculous damage to be anywhere near like able to kill you. It shows. Like, go play Halo and Legendary, go play Call of Duty on whatever they call the stupid retarded difficulty. Everything just kills you in almost 1 second, which makes for awful pacing and makes all the enemies feel the same. So a guy shows up with a rocket launcher, it's like, oh no, a thing that will kill me in one hit, unlike the guys who kill me in 1 second with 3 bullets. Ooh, like,
Yep.
you don't care. And not only that, it doesn't let you do much with your enemies, because if they do certain things aggressively, it gets really annoying because you can't really manage your health. You just have to not get hit. And if they're using, what's the word? Oh, God, I always say it all the time, too. Hit scan weapons, then you can't, there's only so much you can do to manage getting hit. So then there's that. So it's just like double get fucked.
I think the only game I ever played where the regen health mechanic actually worked for what the game was trying to achieve and actually made the game better was probably Guild Wars 1, mostly because, one, the timer that you had to wait for the regen health was pretty long, which isn't annoying in MMO because there's naturally more downtime between combat, and two, simply avoiding enemies in a game like that isn't, it isn't like a simple thing you can just do.
It seems like it's made like a thing for like convenience, like
out of
exactly.
Exactly. But in a game where the regen health is intended to be your defensive heal mechanic, it's very hard
terrible.
To make that not gonna stifle your
like
game.
I think it's just terrible. Like not even like, oh, we can make this work. It's like, no, you can make this like work as best as it could. It'll never be as good as you could have made it without regen health. And people always use a straw man, like, oh, I don't want to like look around for like health items. It's like, they could just have a thing where they just give it to you at checkpoints. For Christ's sake, that's what Souls does. They just you regenerate your uses on your heal,
and then you use them when you need them.
That's all you have to do.
It does frustrate me too, because right now I'm getting ideas for how you could do regenerative health like in a smart way, but it'll never be done in a game. like imagine you're playing an action game like the old school Devil May Cry's or Bayonetta or something, and imagine if you could hit a button and your regenerative health would turn on.
Yeah.
But when you do that, your defense goes down or something. So, like, if you're low on health, you might want to do that to get your health back. But if you haven't killed the boss or the enemies or whatever, it's actually very high-risk strategy. So it's kind of almost like it's tempting you to use it.
The amount of thought put into that random idea that you're probably never going to do in your entire life, ever. Like, we won't even have this discussion again. And you'll probably forget you even had it. Probably more thought than anything that went into a single piece of the order. And that's not a pretentious thing to say, because the game speaks for itself. You take cover, you get shot at, you shoot enemies at the end of a hall. Fuck.
Oh, at least I'm trying. That's kind of sad.
That's my point. It's like, we do have a right to be annoyed at this. It's annoying how people act like it's just people getting mad for no reason. People are like, oh, like you're just acting like this game killed your dog or something. I'm like, no, but it's not good for games. It's bad. Like, it's bad if you actually like playing your games. Why is that a controversial statement now? I want games where I play them? Like, what the?
It's pretentious to say that.
Like, what? Yeah, like, imagine a movie. It's like, I want to go watch a movie to watch a movie. Like, what's like...
No, if you get to the climax, all right, everybody turn around. Turn around and look away from the theater. All right, there's going to be a controller and a PSP coming out of the seat behind you. We're going to have you play the climax. It's going to be really neat.
And you what? Yeah, you're going
to play this.
Your friend finishes it before you, and you're like, what happens? It's like, well, I'm watching now.
I'm watching the movie again. Shut up.
Yeah, that'd be fucking terrible.
No, that'd be great. right?
I like my example with with the music thing because I think that speaks for itself. It's like, oh, it's okay to make us watch something because reasons, but other way around, then it's too much. Why? Because reasons.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the one person who's like, no, I think that's actually a good idea. They put that in their weird artsy game, a 15-minute segment where it's just silence and music.
What about a fighting game where you fight people with your shadow? You gotta jump, and then okay. We're done with that. So maybe we could not make a game like The Order 1886.
Oh,
that's an idea, right? We could make a game.
I think those kind of games are gonna die. To be honest, I think
it's possible.
I think AAA, as we know it, is going to die. Now, not to say, I'm not saying every single AAA franchise is going to die. I think Naughty Dog's probably gonna hold through it. They're pretty good at kind of hedging their bets. I mean, their games, have enough going on to where people don't feel like they've just been punched in the mouth.
Yeah, they have at least some level of gameplay based.
They're doing, they're making a game. Like
they're
that's my problem
something.
with this Order in like games that are kind of gotten into that formula. Is it feels like they're not interested in the game. But I feel like a lot of big games that have been kind of on that edge are going to start falling by the wayside due to excessive budgets causing, like, they're going to implode. Like, there's going to be too many mistakes made that lead to, like, not enough sales. Publishers and whatnot are going to stop wanting to make these games. And they're going to look at things that are actually holding a stable franchise, like a stable fan base. Now the problem lies is, how do they handle those? Like, what happens when someone goes, okay, Bloodborne did really well. How can we make it more successful? That needs to not happen. If that doesn't happen, I think we'll be fine.
Also, another thing we kind of almost touched on a second ago about the cinematic storyline stuff is that I want to see more games tell the story through the gameplay.
Yes,
that's the thing that could be the next big thing if people could really understand what that means. Where the player is experiencing the story in their own way, in an intimate more type of way. Not to, praise Souls more and more, but it's a much more personal experience when you're playing through a Souls game for the first time. And the story of what's happening is more your personal mission through the game. Not
that kind of like trips people up. They go, "Oh, this game has no story," and I'm like, "No, you're doing the story right now." Like,
it's you. It's you. Like, not this made up main character that you're controlling.
Because I don't know, people think like, "Oh, I'm not saying anything, so I'm not like playing a character." And I'm like, you're kind of role playing more in like the average game like that than you are in like Mass Effect, where just kind of watching Shepard do things.
Yeah.
Punch a woman reporter in the face twice. I'm just surprised they got away with that.
Well, that was another interesting topic to talk about. Kind of the AA thing is that I feel like mid-tier games traditionally get away with more stuff. Yeah. And because middle-tier games have gone mostly away, we haven't had that. Like, to get an example, Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head rapes a monster, and there's like a good, it's on screen for like a good 10 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in the HD remake, they edited it down to like a split second.
They did?
Yeah, they edited it. Because they know that you can't get away with that shit anymore.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive.
If they did, oh god, because I already hate that thing enough as it is.
Yeah.
Oh god. I'm going to look that up, and if you're wrong, everyone's going to shit on us, and we're going to fail. And
we'll put in the video description whether or not I just said is true.
We're not going to bother with that shit.
But I'm pretty sure it's true.
Fact-checking. We're not about that.
No, we do. We're about that professional life.
Nick, we're just about saying things.
No. Nope. So basically, we should probably wrap this up here right now, right? I think we said what we needed to say.
Yeah, I think we've said what we need to say. And we'll probably have some more stuff to cover soon as things go on, because I think a bunch of stuff's gonna happen. It's gonna be kind of neat soon. Also gonna be trying out some newly released games in the near future, and then we can talk about those.
All right. One other thing.
Oh.
So we were just talking about Silent Hill, right? So you're probably not too happy about Silent Hills.
Hmm.
Well, then again, do we even really know?
I don't know what that game is.
Yeah, was that
No,
demo.
they said the demo is not supposed to be indicative of the game. But I'm kind of
In any way?
That's what I don't know. I feel like we could do an episode completely devoted to this.
All right, so we'll cut it off here then. That will be maybe the jumping point to the next discussion.
Yeah, sure. Fuck it. All right. Hope you enjoyed it. If not, I don't know. Go away. Bye.